Captain James Cook was a British explorer, cartographer and naval officer famous for his 3 voyages between 1768 and 1779. Join us now as we take a look around the James Cook Museum in Whitby. Captain James Cook was born, according to the old calendar, on the 27th of October 1728, or, according to the new calendar, on the 7th of November, at Morton in Cleveland. His father, originally from Scotland, was also called James, and married Grace Pace from Cleveland, and they had a total of 8 children. When James was still a child, his father moved to Great Ayton, a few miles away near the Cleveland Hills, and became the foreman of Airy Home Farm. Here, the young James received a basic education at the village school and assisted his father on the farm. In 1745 he began work in a general dealer's shop at Straths, a fishing village a short distance away from the busy port of Whitby. He decided that he wanted to go to sea and was introduced to the Walker family. Thus his training as a seaman began. John Walker and his brother Henry were Quaker shipowners engaged in the coal trade between the North East and London. The Quakers, or Society of Friends, were upright, hospitable people, known for their simplicity of manners and public spirit. The young Cook could not have come to a better environment. Whitby was a thriving shipbuilding centre. The Walker's ships were workaday collar barks known as cats, sailing to London and across the North Sea. Cook began the life as a sailor on Freelove in February 1747, carrying a cargo of coal to London. According to long-standing Whitby tradition, Walker lodged Cook when he was not at sea in the house in Grape Lane, which is now the museum. With his 3-year apprenticeship completed, Cook began working on trading ships in the Baltic Sea. After passing his examinations in 1752, he soon progressed through the merchant navy ranks, starting with his promotion in that year to mate aboard the collier brig Friendship. In 1755, within a month of being offered command of this vessel, he volunteered for service in the Royal Navy, when Britain was rearming for what was to become known as the 7 Years' War. Despite the need to start back at the bottom of the naval hierarchy, Cook realised his career would advance more quickly in military service, and entered the Navy at Rapping on the 17th of June 1755. At that time, Whitby-trained seamen were very welcome in the Royal Navy. Within a month he was promoted to master's mate, the same rank he had held in Walker's ships. It was the beginning of the 7 Years' War with France. He saw action in 2 sea fights. He also caught the eye of his captain, Hugh Palliser, who gave him instruction in charting and navigation. After 2 years he was promoted to HMS Pembroke as master. He put his charting and navigational skills to good use in the St. Lawrence River as the British fleet closed in on Quebec. In 1762 he married Elizabeth Batts of Shadwell, who was linked to the Quaker community in London, with which Walker did much business. Cook was 13 years older than his wife. They spent only 4 months together before Cook went back to sea. This was to be the pattern for much of their married life. In the following years, Cook charted the waters around Newfoundland. He was commended for his genius and captaincy. His reports to London brought him to the attention of the Royal Society. The stage was set for him to be selected to lead the voyage to the Pacific in HM Bark Endeavour. The Admiralty decided to dispatch a ship with members of the Royal Society to observe the transit from Tahiti. It was also believed that there was a great southern continent in the southern hemisphere which balanced the great land masses of the north. After observing the transit, the ship was to sail south and search for the southern continent. Cook was chosen to lead the expedition. He was given the command of the Endeavour and promoted lieutenant. He was of course very familiar with the type of vessel chosen by the Admiralty. The Endeavour was a Whitby-built collier, solidly built, flat-bottomed and so easy to beach and repair. Spacious and able to carry many provisions. The ship could also be managed by a small crew if necessary. According to Cook, a better ship for such service I never could wish for. So Cook and a Whitby ship came together again in the Endeavour to lay the foundation for some of the most significant voyages in history of exploration. Cook's voyages led to the opening up of the Pacific Ocean to European exploration, trade and eventual colonisation. In his own time, Cook's work was of huge international interest, both for the knowledge it added to many fields, from navigation and cartography to botany and anthropology, as well as potential for further encounters and trade with previously unknown peoples. More recently, Cook's reputation has been reviewed as the impact of colonisation on indigenous people has brought reassessment of the British Empire and its history. The consequences for peoples already living in the Pacific region were varied and often harmful. Some of these discoveries of places and peoples ultimately led to the loss of indigenous land rights and marginalisation in the decades after Cook's death.